Ethan playing the double psych and letting Unicorns know he's aware of it. Let's not be surprised. Cassiopeia taken off the table away from Power of Evil.
Yeah.
Betsy demonstrated his Diana at Intel Extreme Masters. That is off the table from UOL.
So I wrote down a few picks and bans here. I would say Hecarim also going to be banned from Gambit. I would do it against Visichachi at least. I'm not going to say it's going to be guaranteed. And then from Unicorns, Diana is going to be one of them. They banned Sejuani last time they played against Gambit here in week 9. There are still some good tank picks. Gragas would be one of them. And that's been banned away now from the Unicorns.
Well, Hylissang losing access to Annie was his most played support at 7 games in the regular split. Interestingly, Hylissang only played 4 champions, Annie, Thresh, Leona, Morgana. I want to see what he's going to pull out here in the best of 5. We did see that Gragas taken away from the jungle. Nidalee off the table for Kikis. It was Kikis that debuted in the LCS, and as you mentioned, the Power Pony's still there.
It is still there. Obviously been very impactful in other regions. Yesterday, the Wolves tried to play with it, but didn't really manage to use the teleports properly. But Nidalee here was also the pick Kikis had in week 9 when they played each other, and he was very aggressive. I mean, these two teams here are so close to each other in terms of the way they play on the map. The two junglers both love to invade on each other. They love to have early ganks in the solo lanes, and therefore Nidalee has been taken away. And of course the Sejuani, we talked about it just before, how it's been one of the main picks. Well, the funny thing is, Gambit were the first team to play it before it became a thing, before Cinderhulk and everything. Diamond was playing Sejuani.
Diamond has introduced a number of top-tier picks to the top of the table. Keep in mind Maokai available as well. This will be the second time that Cabochard has played Maokai.
Yeah.
I think it's smart because Chachi's got 4 games in it in the regular splits.
And Cabochard as a player, the analyst desk were talking about how it doesn't seem to be his style. And if you look at all 9 weeks here in the LCS, I agree. He's been more of the carry type. The thing is, Cabochard used to be a Maokai player. When he played it for NIP, he would just pick Maokai every single game. So he clearly knows everything about the champion, and it doesn't even matter if you're a carry top laner, and you don't need a carry anymore. A tank is enough. You can be fed on a Maokai and win games for your team. So I like this pick up here from Gambit, because it's also a takeaway from Visichachi.
So we'll see how the rest of the picks and bans shake out with a number of junglers taken off the table. I want to see where Diamond and Kikis go. Will Rek'Sai see some time on the Rift, or will we see that Vi? I was taking a look at some of the numbers to Fisho in Europe.
Giacomo is also an option.
Out of 186 jungle champions played, only 8 games have featured a Vi. The only reason I highlight that, North America LCS is playing a ton of Vi. We saw some of it yesterday, and we'll see whether or not Diamond can as well.
Yeah, Diamond's played a lot of Vi recently, but Unicorns here setting up 2 things with these picks. They're both flex picks for them. And you either build towards a Giacomo composition, or you build towards a long-range siege comp. Very poke-focused, depending on what Gambit is going to take. If they don't take any other hard engage than the Maokai itself, then suddenly you can see Unicorns aim towards some of these poke compositions. We have seen before Power of Evil plays long-range champions in the mid lane. So yeah, 2 flex picks for them, not really telling a whole lot. And if Rek'Sai gets locked in, I think they might try and go for it.
So we'll see. Couple seconds left on the clock. Both of these teams running their timers down. Urgot was banned all 3 games yesterday. Has been secured. Could go AD carry, could go mid lane. We're expecting it mid with those summoners for Betsy.
Well, definitely also flex pick, yeah. The thing is for Gambit here, they have a fantastic tank setup already. Super hard to kill in a straight up team fight. But if you look at the amount of engage, in order for Urgot to get towards a long-range composition, let's say a Giacomo, if it does become a Giacomo, he needs to have flash ready when he goes in so he can swap back the AD carry. Urgot is a fantastic pick normally to stop these protect the AD carry comps because he can single them out so well. And if this picks get locked in, we will have this fast push comp, this long-range poke from the Unicorns, and then Gambit is gonna have to rely on flash engages from the likes of an Urgot to start the fights.
Well, Unicorns of Love have run their mid lane Kog'Maw before. It did fantastic for 20 minutes and then took another 25 to finish. Unicorns completely floundered their mid game with that very long range. And a couple seconds left on the clock. Let's see if they still opt to go that route. Hecarim top for Visichachi.
So it is mid lane.
Jinx locked in.
It's gonna be for the mid lane then. Vardax gets his Jinx. This is purely picked because of a fast pushing ability. If you manage to poke someone off the tower and back in base, Jinx just needs a few seconds on a tower and it goes down. Gambit does have the option to run the likes of Leona as a support if they want some hard engage there. Thresh is okay in this situation as well. But they're gonna have to look, I mean, they can see everything Unicorns are doing now. They know exactly what they have to deal with. They know they need enough engage to always force fights and single out these two immobile AD carries from the Unicorns. There's only one Black Shield. So one of the AD carries will be caught out by the likes of an Urgot and swap back.
A couple seconds left on the clock. That is Cho'Gath locked in, meaning that's going to be an Urgot bottom lane.
Yeah, it will be
for Pinoy. It's something that you were touching on earlier today, Deficio, the fact that Urgot has that flexibility in his back pocket. Edward got some disengage to round out the team composition. That is a terrifying, terrifying front line with some powerful disengage if anything goes awry.
That's the thing. In a straight-up team fight, Gambit here, fantastic tankiness. They got some burst damage from the Cho'Gath as well. But overall, they will still have that problem. If Urgot cannot flash in for the engage or Maokai cannot get a flank himself, Unicorns can't dance around. The Black Shield from Morgana shuts down the Maokai engage pretty effectively, even the Urgot in this case. So the Unicorns, as long as they don't fall behind and can never contest objectives because there's always wards being placed from Gambit and they have to like walk down a choke point and can always get engaged on, they will be able to sit back and poke and simply slow down the game. Say to Gambit, if you ever want to fight, you better do it instantly. Otherwise, you're going to be way too low. Even in Nautilus now, we haven't seen this in the jungle. But this is so much about kiting. You max E now on it, and you just basically stand in front of your AD carries and you press E, you slow everything, and you just walk back. You land one binding, follow that with a hook, and then you can single out a target, then you take a tower. So for the Unicorns here, as long as they don't fall behind, they can pull off this super long range, super annoying comp with so much CC and so many ways of stopping the Gambit engage. It's pretty exciting.
It's going to be interesting. The key note I'm going to take away from this one is the Unicorns do not fall behind. We've taken a look at their goal difference at 10 minutes, their goal difference at 20, and honestly, Unicorns go even more games than most. But you got to wonder if that is going to be enough. The risk of being caught by the Rupture, by the Maokai, by the Urgot is very, very scary.
And that really is the thing, because if you look at Gambit's comp here, they have the Rek'Sai locked in and a Cho'Gath mid lane, so the dueling potential 2-on-2 between Betsy and Diamond is fantastic compared to what the Unicorns are bringing from Kikis and Power of Evil here. So the mid lane pressure will be for Gambit. They have to use that to get in that jungle, place these deep wards here, spot the Nautilus, and then simply roam between the lanes and use that to really snowball.
Well, you make it sound so easy as always, Deficio. Guys, hit us up on Twitter. Hashtag GMB win or hashtag UOL win to @LOL Esports. You know, the local fans are behind the Unicorns of Love. We're loading up onto the Rift for game 1 of our second quarterfinal here in the European LCS. And we've got some fun stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing Power of Evil and Vardag's positioning. There's no Thresh to save their lives if any of that CC connects from Gambit. And there is a whole heck of a lot. But truthfully, the same could be said from the Unicorns towards well. If you could see us, guys, we're busy dancing, I promise. Oh.
Boring, man. Betsy turning down the music.
Guess they got to stay focused for the quarterfinal, right?
So, Gambit going for an invade here. They want to place a few deep wards to try and spot where Unicorns are sending their lanes. In this situation, Maokai does perfectly fine against Hecarim in lane, simply because Hecarim is spamming his Qs so much, proccing that passive from the Maokai over and over. And obviously the Urgot Janna is going to be a very strong lane for Gambit. So we're going to have to see if they can manage to spot where Unicorns are sending their dual lane. For now, Hylissang and Vardex are staying here. They have obviously shown themselves with these bindings. And look at the wards from Gambit. 4 placed inside. I don't think they can see the wall, though, on the ward to place between the 2 towers up here. That shouldn't really be an issue for Unicorns unless they swap to the top side.
So we'll find out what the Unicorns decide to do.
Nothing. They can just farm. I mean, Morgana Jinx can sit back and play the farm fest in this situation here.
And in terms of this duo, Jinx Morgana against Urgot Janna, This is not something that we've seen at all this year. Of course, with Urgot getting some buffs in 5.5, rejoining himself in the meta. But Eddie and Pinoy struggled against Vardags and Hylissang the last time these duo lane met. Pinoy has some early aggression, throwing out some of those missiles and a massive advantage, punishing Vardags.
Yeah, so notice what Gambit did here in the start of the lane. Pinoy stayed in the lane to get the early push on the minions, while Eddie was the guy moving into the Grump. That stopped Unicorns from even trying to start it, and made them also get late down towards the lane itself, so Pinoy already had the first push going. He was standing in a good position to start trading, and obviously you don't want to take these level 1 trades against an Urgot, just spamming Q auto attack on you as a Jinx. Poor start for Unicorns in this 2-on-2 lane, and it's gonna be in full control for Gambit. Obviously, mana is gonna be a bit of a problem for Pinoy, but once he goes back and gets that tier, that's gonna be the first little spike for him, where he can really become a lane bully.
And such a strong advantage against an AD carry like Jinx, reducing all damage, in fact, thanks to the Urgot passive. But strong start for Gambit, reversing their fortunes from the last time they met. It was interesting you touched on Eddie sort of interrupting the Grump. Eddie invades jungles in a majority of games that Gambit plays. Likes to be a nuisance. And Diamond, with a typical Gambit style,
we have seen this before.
Trending top.
Always putting focus on top lane. Gambit used to basically always focus on Cabo Shot, make him the big carry. The first gank, there's no flash on Chachi, remember?
Well, he's thrown down the Ignite. Cabashot's burning away. Diamond gets the knockup. Red buff is available. Chachi is going to be low on mana. Diamond, he's going to burrow, flash forward, unburrow. 1 or 2 more auto attacks, and Diamond is on the board. Gambit with first blood.
And Kickers, you can see the route he took. He started red buff, moved all the way down to the blue buff, so he wasn't in the river here around the Baron to clear the Skull Crab and get some vision for them. That allowed simply the roam. Let's see what happens now, because Kickers will get denied. Or will he? He will pick it up, or Power People got it. But because Kiki started on the red side and didn't go for the river and clear that Skull Crab here to give the vision to spot Diamond coming top lane, there was nothing Visichachi could do once he was caught in the middle of the lane. And we know Gambit ganks that top lane. No way that can be a surprise for Unicorns.
So well played by Gambit. Step 1, get an advantage. They did lose control of that Scuttle Crab, and Kikis on this Nautilus just trying to get his way up to some levels. Pinoy low in mana, not yet backed. Still got some potions to play with. And the CS lead he had earned against Vardags has been equaled out. Oof, so much damage, but no connection from that Noxian Corrosive Charge.
This really started level 1 for the Unicorns when they came down late to the lane, and Pinoy were already in such a good position. And obviously Urgot is a fantastic early AD carry as well. Diamond, he's still around the top side. He gets this one. Then Gambit controls the river, meaning Visichachi can never push his lane. He has to sit back at his tower, otherwise he's gonna get ganked again from it. So Unicorns, despite knowing that Diamond loves to gank to top lane, didn't do anything to try and get some deep wards down or deep vision to spot this first gank, and has paid the price. Kiki's obviously gonna be spotted now. Pink ward and the tunnel.
Well, Pink ward still alive in the bush. Kikis did not check it. We did see a few moments ago that Pinoy backed, has picked himself up that early tier. Gonna start charging up, and Eddie's just giving us a bit of a walk, trying to save as many CS as possible.
Yeah,
pretty cheeky.
Now the fun starts for Urgot. When you got that tier and you got enough mana to just keep poking away, it becomes really, really fun to play him and super annoying to play against him. So Chachi has moved a little bit away from his own tower, and he's ganked again.
Well, let's take a look. We do see the connection from Kikis. His tower hits onto Cabashot. Cabashot down to 200. Diamond gets a knock-up onto Kikis as the Chilling Smite will keep Kikis in range for a moment or two longer. But the Riptide doesn't connect further. And Unicorns of Love defend Visichachi's life. He's sticking around, though. This could get risky.
Yeah, let's see. Kikis is here as well, but he's spotted from the ward. We have to remember, Nautilus is a very weak early duelist. He does not want to fight a Rek'Sai. They're going back towards Visichachi.
Oh, Diamond gets the knockup. That's another kill. Diamond is under attack from the tower, though. His Kikis will be the next focus. Another knockup. Few more hits should do it. The minions and one more slam. Cabashot with a double kill, 2-0-1.
And this right here is the reason we don't see a lot of Nautilus being played. He's so weak in the early levels, and also because he's maxing E to become more of a kiting machine, he has very low damage in the early game. Normally you need that shield, you get a few ranks in it early, and you have some decent auto attacks while it's up. But in this case, it's max E after the changes. It is extremely weak in fights. Rek'Sai is so much stronger, and we mentioned how Diamond here can be the big playmaker in the early game because he's playing this Rek'Sai into a very slow tank. And because Unicorns again are giving up the top side of the map in terms of vision, they get in some very bad situations and are now being completely punished.
So Fisher, in picks and bans, you said you can get a Maokai fed and still win games 2-0-1 before 10 minutes. Cabochard is sitting pretty. And honestly, this is not surprising at all. Gambit have been camping for Cabochard for multiple weeks.
That is the surprise.
It got them into the playoffs. What's surprising is Unicorns did not prepare for it.
Exactly.
Did not play around it. Maybe Unicorns just underestimating the amount of time Diamond is going to spend up there.
And also, Nautilus here was the last pick. That is picked into a very passive mid laner that needs a lot of time to scale up. You need level 11 here for Power of Evil. You need to stack up that tier before you do anything. So Nautilus is not going to add anything in the mid lane. Top lane, Hecarim obviously needs to win his laning phase to become super impactful in the map, in the game, but he's not running Flash. So against a heavy CC laner, it's easy to basically lock him down and set up ganks. So when Gambit locked in that Rek'Sai, they got all that early pressure and they've been using it so well. Now Betsy's roaming, Diamond is joining as well. I mean, we might just try and dive him again.
Oh, looks like there is some backup from Kikis and not really a lot of minions to work with on that top lane. So unfortunately the roam has not paid off. They should get themselves a pink ward for the troubles. Yeah, Diamond spots it. Talking about Betsy, we've actually not touched on this Void Monster matchup in the middle lane. Cho'Gath and Kog'Maw. And we won't talk about it because Chachi is being hit down by an oak tree. Diamond is going to burrow, unburrow, find Kikis, jungle on jungle, top on top. Dredgeline used to pull Kikis to safety. He does manage to get away for the time being. Chachi has got access to the onslaught of shadows. He's going to use it to try keep Cabochard under the tower. Down to 200 hit points. One more hit should do it. And it is the Prey Seeker. Now in the bottom lane, Hylissang is going to be able to take out Pinoy. We didn't see how that setup happened. But Hylissang with the Soul Shackles and the level 6. That's a flash away from Edward, dodging the Super Mega Death Rocket. But Unicorns on the board in the 2v2.
Yeah, so very important to get a kill in the bottom lane. No idea why Gambit got in that situation down there. You're winning so hard on the top side of the map. Just farm bottom lane. You don't have to go for any kills if you're Pinoy and Eddie in this situation. Let's see it again. They're trading in. They have ulti on Pinoy. Just managed to get in range to swap Vardax and just trades. Gets blinded. Simply just
look at the CC.
Chain CC from the Unicorns. Gambit being caught out here and really just farm. You're winning so hard on the top side of the map. Don't have to do anything. But what you have to notice as well, whenever Diamond is ganking the top lane, mid lane is always being pushed by Betsy. So he's always running before Power of Evil towards that top lane when the dives happen. Which simply means even if Unicorns are there to counter gank with Kikis, it will be a 3v2 situation in just a matter of seconds. And that's what we talked about, how when you pick these super slow laners, and you also have a tank jungler that can't do anything in the early game, you surrender the entire map on one side. And in this case, it's been the top side, where Gambit is just taking full control through mid lane, jungle, and top lane.
Taking stock of the situation, Gambit 4 kills up. They've got the first tower. They've got the dragon under the belt, secured by Diamond. And with the exception of a small misstep by Pinoy, everything seems to be going to plan. Small advantages in CS across the board. Righteous Glory already completed for Cabochard, so the ability to jump onto these very immobile AD carries should be made easier. As long as Cabochard can find the right TP, it will be coming off cooldown in a moment or two. Hylissang, Soul Shackles comes out. Eddie's gonna knock him away. But that's ultimates traded. Not the end of the world. Hylissang and Edward battling over this pink ward.
Eddie doesn't mind too much. Basically, his only target in a fight is going to be the Hecarim, just trying to knock him away when he comes in. Otherwise, he's going to have these 4 bruisers or tanks who's just going to keep walking forward and trying to catch the back line of Unicorns. So in that case, the Janna is not going to be too useful with the ulti. It's purely just to stop Visichachi from getting in himself and obviously buffing up the damage of Pinoy in these fights here. Diamond now for the first time around the bottom lane. He doesn't really need to do anything down here. Already gotten 2 kills and 2 assists on top side. I think that's a pretty good start.
Yeah, decent
And
enough.
also why, I know everyone's talking about tank junglers, Cinderhulk OP, Rek'Sai, Nidalee. These early junglers, they are still very, very strong because you can make these plays early game.
Especially when you get all the ganks. Pinoy once again eats himself a dark binding. Hylissang and Vardex come up bets in a situation. We do see Pinoy trying to go up to this mid lane. Kikis is now caught out. Diamond forced to flash away. The tick from the Gromp is not going to be enough, but the ignite from Betsy will. Power of Evil flashes into the Wolf Camp. Cabo Shard follows. Arcane Smash into auto attack. Now, we do see Chachi plus Hylissang in another 2v2, but Chachi's low, Chachi's down. Hylissang's low on mana. Black Shield's going to time out. Edward's in place, and Vardex, why are you joining the party? All of a sudden, Vardex and Hylissang trying to get out, and Vardex forced to flash. Unicorns of Love are scattered and making weird and wonderful decisions. Gambit loving the situation they're in.
Yeah, but this is what we expected when we looked at Gambit and the Unicorns of Love in a quarterfinal. Fights everywhere, 9 kills already. Mid lane we have fights. Bottom lane, again, a kill for Unicorns. There was a TP from Chachi down there, killing Pinoy. But it doesn't really matter for Gambit because they're winning so hard elsewhere on the map. This mid lane tower is super low already. Top lane obviously died long ago. And Kekis, he's still trying to deal some damage, but it's not gonna happen.
Well, Gambit are in a great position. We're gonna get a replay of the bottom lane fight.
Yes, second time Pinoy now gets caught with a binding that starts the whole fight. TP comes in from Chachi. But while he's TPing to the bottom lane, look at the mid lane here. You can see how Power of Evil and Kekis are fighting 2v3. So he has to get that 1 kill, but this benefits Gambit. It's already got Kekis down. They're gonna get Power of Evil as well. And now there's no damage left for Unicorns once they return here. I mean, Betsy on a Cho'Gath, Cabo Shard on a Maokai, they don't really care. And obviously, clean house.
So very well played by Gambit, picking the right fights. Fisher, something you praise from Gambit. All split long. Diamond is going to find Hylissang. The hyperkinetic position reverse is available, but not used as Pinoy gets caught on the Flame Chompers. I got so excited for the spell name, and then it didn't happen to Fisher.
Good old Black Shield.
But Gambit, take a look at this lead. They were trying to set up for Dragon. You see some sort of defensive play as Kikis is killing some of those tunnels.
Here's the thing though, Gambit doesn't really have to start this Dragon, because look at the top lane. Cabo Shard is already pushed all the way down. He can even stay if he wants to and just start hitting on that tower, but it seems like he want to go back and buy a few items, potentially get Home Guards and then TP in. Yeah, Home Guard just completed for him now. So in case a fight happens, there's so many deep wards from Gambit in the jungle of the Unicorns. This is going to be a perfect TP from Cabo Shard. Dive onto that back line here and get onto these squishy carries. He's just waiting in base. Now the Dragon is secured and no fight happened. He can go back to his lane, denied some CS, denied the Dragon as well just by having that TP threat. Still sitting there. Pinging towards the bottom lane. Let's see if the TP's in.
Well, smart play from Gambit. They secure the second Dragon. We still see Cabo Shard chilling on the fountain. Look on the bottom lane. Pinoy, is he going to get caught again? The answer is yes. You see the Black Shield on Vardex. That's about to time out. Mega Death Rocket is going to put damage down as Eddie continues to channel. Notice Cabo Shard actually stopped his walk for a little while. Diamond is now joining this party. 3-on-2. Look at Betsy from the jungle. Diamond takes a turret shot as there's no minion support. Oh, going to be in a bit of trouble here. Chilling Smite out. We do see the Death Charge. It's going to connect, and that now turns Unicorn's focus to Betsy. Betsy trying to get away. Smiles across the board.
Well, smiles from Sheepy, not from Leviathan.
Well, Leviathan was seeing his team making one small mistake, but it didn't hurt them yet. It's not over yet to Fisher. They're still hanging around this bottom area of the map.
Yeah, Kick is out of mana. They're fighting with his blue buff.
Power of Evil's going to secure it. We do see the knock-up from the Rupture. He's going to join the pot. That's a flash feast. Betsy gets one on Kikis. He's going to pop the Black Shield. Vardex forced to sidestep the Rupture. Pinoy's going to get himself a kill. Someone use the position reverser. You've got Urgot. Not needed as Gambit going to get themselves 2 more kills. 9-3 up. 6,000 gold in the lead. CS advantages across the board, and they're going to set their sights on this bottom tower.
Yeah, these deep wards here on the bottom side from Gambit really shows where they want to make the plays. We saw early in the game, all the focus in terms of warding was on the top side from Gambit. That's why they kept ganking Visichachi, got all these kills, he got the early lead. Then they went down to the bottom side, completely warded off the jungle. Okay, sure, Diamond died when he was sneaking in behind, but they still managed to get a fight in the jungle where they have full control, get more kills. I mean, Betsy now and Cho'Gath got a 3-0, or 3-0 and 2. He's going to be fully stacked up soon. You don't have the damage to take him down. If you're the Unicorns, you need way more time. I mean, Power of Evil, currently on his tier, 457 mana. So that's not even close to being fully completed. He's 11 now, so that's the first point. You got Luden's Echo as well, so his ulti is going to do a lot of extra AoE damage. But he's just not strong enough to fight, especially not when you have the likes of Kikis on Nautilus being so far behind as well.
Well, Kikis has been in trouble all game long. Once again, Dredge Line's out to safety. Gambit have got support coming in, but Pinoy's still hanging a little bit closer to the top lane. 4 members of Gambit on the red buff. Vardak's not with the team. Rupture connects onto Hylissang. Betsy is looking for the feast. Eats a Dark Binding, which means he can't get in range. And Hylissang manages to stay alive to fight another day. We're not even 20 minutes into the game. Gambit are looking to secure another inner turret. Unicorns, even with their spirit animal Hecarim, unable to fend off the aggression. And that was actually a very long-range Super Mega Death Rocket. Edwy ate it, but it didn't result in anything. And 50% HP gone from that tower.
That's a pretty good defense, though, from the Unicorns. Managed to stop Gambit from taking tower while Vardax was staying on the bottom lane and got to tier 1. So this is at least a good trade-in. What you have to do when you're falling this far behind, you gotta try and trade cross-map objectives. So in this case here, they figured they could hold the top tower and also get the bottom lane at the same time. So that's just some good and very important gold from the Unicorns. Probably says it, I mean. When you're playing Gambit, it's always a 1v2.
Yeah, I see what Amazing has to say. Honestly, Nautilus is the opposite of what you want against Rek'Sai.
I feel like we've said that a few times.
Strong words from Amazing. And it's showing through. Kikis 1-3-0. Had little to no impact on this game at all. And
yeah, should have been a volley bear.
To Fisher, we're approaching 20 minutes on the clock. Gambit have only been more than 4,000 gold up in 3 of their regular season games. 3 out of 18. They're set to make that 4 with one of their most convincing early to mid-game performances of the year. All of a sudden, Kikis is going to get in trouble. Diamond's gone in, got the unburrow. We do see that challenging smite. Depth charge not used from Kikis. Prey Seeker, but blows the flash from Kikis and just forcing him out of his own jungle. Gambit, they're now setting the sights on Power of Evil. That's another flash. 2 of them blown. If Gambit find the same opportunities again, all of a sudden, Kikis and Power of Evil, they're going down.
They're going down for sure. And the funny thing is, this was a last pick Nautilus. They saw the entire comp from Gambit. They could see everything. They knew, okay, we're going to be Mauga into Hecarim. We had the Rek'Sai locked in from Diamond. He's basically looking for fights non-stop. The warding is still perfect from Gambit. They keep just investing all their wards on the one side they want to fight. They don't try and ward up the entire map. No, they say, okay, what's the next objective? It's going to be Dragon. Fine, we take over the bot side jungle. Is it going to be the tier 2 tower and bottom lane? Good, we stay here with our wards, or otherwise we swap them top side if we go over to Baron. So they keep moving around this massive set of wards because they have double side stone already, and they have 4 sweepers to clear out the vision from the Unicorns, and they just take over jungle completely. It's no longer Unicorns jungle.
Well, the one thing you said in Picks and Bans, Unicorns need to get ahead early. They cannot afford to fall behind. They've fallen super far behind, over 6,000 gold as we broach 20 minutes on the clock. Gambit, 30 seconds till potentially their 3rd dragon, and their 2nd largest gold lead of the split. Gambit are in a great position, but this is now where things get difficult. Gambit, on average, take 42 minutes to win games. That's their average time in their wins. They cannot really afford to give 20 minutes of time and build up to Power of Evil and Vardax.
Right.
So we'll see what they do, how they close it out.
That's a fun little stat, because when you watch Gambit play, one game they close it out in 26 minutes and they make basically the right move all game long. Like against Elements, 26 minutes, game was done. And then the next day they play, they get a massive goal lead and they struggle to close the game because they kind of walk around the Baron, let's say for 10 minutes, and it looks very messy suddenly. If Gambit keeps playing like they're doing now, we're going to look at the one, you know, the same style as against Elements, where they look very clean, they know where to push, they know how to get these objectives. They don't care about losing this tier 2 tower because they're getting a 3rd dragon, so that's going to be the next goal for them, go towards the 5 dragons and 4 unicorns to fight.
So the trade, top tower for dragon. Betsy and Edward getting some damage on the mid-inner turret. Diamond secures that one uncontested. Pinoy getting some auto attacks onto Vardax, and honestly, that's a lot of damage from those Acid Hunters. This is the jungle that we have declared ownership from Gambit. For Unicorns, yes, they are extremely far behind. They cannot afford to get caught out of position. If, however, they can initiate with Kikis and Chachi.
Another flash. Two
we'll see
carries
if it
now
works
without
out.
flashes from Unicorns. They might go in anyway.
Well, Betsy gets caught out. He's going to get caught by those Flame Chompers. The onslaught of Shadows instantly knocked away. Pinoy and Diamond on the front lines. Diamond is going to be forced to run away as he gets hit by Hecarim. Look at Cabochon in the back line. He's got 4 members of the Unicorns on him. The Maelstrom beats path. Cabochon is looking for Bardags, and he does get him. All of a sudden turns her attention to Visit Chachi. Hecarim is on a full retreat. Cabochon is still tanking the Unicorns of Love. Finally decides he doesn't want to be there. Flashes away to smiles from the coaches, and here comes Diamond. He's looking to re-engage. He's turned his sights to Power of Evil. Rupture plus Feral's Gleam equals a kill for Cabochon. There's a teleport in from Vizichachi, but it doesn't equate to anything. They've lost their carries. The 2 front lines of Unicorns is all that remains, and Gambit are on the inner turrets.
And 2 very key things we're missing here for the Unicorns. Well, it's not over yet.
Not
There's
even
some more
over.
kills.
Kikis is
Power as
down.
well.
Diamond is soloing Vizichachi, and the rest of Gambit will secure their 4th tower after a prolonged team fight. What great play.
Remember what happened the last few minutes. Flashes were blown from the carries on Unicorns. They are immobile. If they don't have that black shield, there's no way for them to stay alive or defend themselves. They were the targets here from Gambit. Once Cabochon came in, we're going to see it again. And this, by the way, is why it's still good to get a very fit Maokai, because he becomes this tanky early in the game, and he still has pretty good damage, honestly, over such a long fight. So at first, it's a good engage from the Unicorns. They catch Betsy, pull him on the tower. The whole thing looks terrible now for Gambit, but look, no flash on Vardax, so he's now stuck in here. Cabochon is a fed Maokai. He's enough damage to take him down, 1v5, basically. Next one, wait for Diamond to return, and then we look at Power of Evil, who also had to use Flash just 2 minutes ago, so it's not ready for the fight. No black shield. Diamond coming in, look at your minimap, follow him all the way up. Behind Power of Evil, no way for him to escape now, because there's no Flash. He's dead.
Unbelievable play here. Chachi decides to TP in, but it doesn't equate to anything. There are simply no carries left to fight with. And actually looked like the Cathian Surprise did more damage than the rest of Unicorn's team fight. We're still going to Fisher.
I mean, it's just more kills. Now it's cleanup time. Alright, so Gambit figured there's no dragon, there's no bot lane tower or tier 2 tower. We don't care about bot lane now. Let's take this massive package of wards and go towards the top side of the map. 1 tier 2 left, that's the top one. Baron is also going to be an objective very soon for them to force another fight. So by taking over this jungle, which should be the next goal for them, once they go back and get a few pink wards at least, they can completely control topside jungle, control Baron at the same time, and once the wave hits on the top lane tower as well, it's already down to 50%. That's going to be an easy target for Gambit.
So 25 minutes in, Gambit transition their focus to the top half of the map. They've controlled the bottom half and Unicorn's blue buff for the last 10, securing back-to-back steals.
Dragons
as
bots,
well.
Towers.
Absolutely everything belongs to Gambit. Any towers they've given up is because Gambit chose not to defend them in preparation for picking objectives elsewhere. Diamond was spotted by the ward, but he was spotting everyone thanks to Tremor Sense, and the rest of the team is backing him up, moving into the jungle.
Gambit's going to need some ping wards if they really want to take control of the map here. I mean, they're so far ahead, they can just play like this and still get the right fights. But once the tier 2 tower top goes down, then it becomes harder and harder, because you got to get into the base now, where there's a very short route between the lanes and of course the fountain for the Unicorns, so it's going to be easier for them to defend. And then you have to play around that Baron. But seeing as Gambit doesn't have any pinks on it, it can be pretty risky. Starting it, there's always the chance of a jungler flashing in and stealing it.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Flash is available for Power of Evil and Kikis, where they were not previously. No flashes for Vardax and
Unicorns
Hillisang.
realize they should know this is happening, because they haven't seen Gambit for quite a while now.
And this team will take a long time to hammer this Baron down.
Right.
Gambit have got the numbers. Rupture does not connect. The rest of Gambit still sticking. Pinoy has regrouped with his team. 50% of Baron's HP is down, but as we said, you don't necessarily have those
Gambit just back away, reset.
champions.
Reset whole thing. Go back, get your pings, return. First of all, go back to Dragon then. Go back, get your pings, and go Dragon. You have 3 already to 0. If the Unicorns want to fight you there, you take that fight, because they're still not strong enough. I mean, look at Power of Evil. Not even 2 items fully completed for him. Same for Vardax. The 2 carries do no damage. So once you've gone back to base, we got 1 pink. They got 4 sweepers, so I guess it can be okay for them, but they're not looking to get full control. Get this Dragon and then return back to the Baron itself and this tier 2 tower, where you just take over that topside jungle. That should be the next objective for them. when they're this far ahead.
Small advantage for Unicorns. They did get that last outer turret. Any little bit of gold is going to go a very, very long way for Unicorns.
And they got that tower because Gambit started a Baron where they didn't have control, had to back away, were forced to recall. That gave Unicorns a tower. Small things, but it's what the Unicorns can do to get back in the game.
Gambit set their focus to Dragon now, Deficio. A little safer, a little less risky. A lot easier to kill, that's for sure. Respawns, they had 1 or 2 pink wards in the inventory, which have already been placed by Edward. Nothing else on the map. So as far as vision goes, slightly losing control from what they had earlier, but look at the damage onto Hylissang. We do see a TP coming in from Caboshot right behind Unicorns of Love. Vizichachi forced to onslaught away as a defensive play, and he is down. Pinoy gets a kill. They've turned to Vardax. He's already flashed. He is dropped once again by Caboshot. Dredgeline to safety, instantly flashed away, as did Hylissang in the background. Knockup interrupted by the Black Shield. Gambit just put together 2 easy kills. Set their sights on Baron.
Yeah.
Keep in mind Dragon spawned as well, so there's the opportunity to get Dragon number 4.
And while it was a good play from the Unicorns to take that mid tower, honestly, you have to just give that Dragon over to Baron, to Gambit. No, Baron as well soon from them. But we can talk about it after. Let's see if Gambit can secure this one. Kikis is here. There's no flash, so there's no way for him to get in the Baron pit.
No, not at all. Kikis is just dancing around. I think he's going to get caught out. Yes, he's found Edward, but that does not really matter. As you see the rest of Gambit slowly chipping it away, and they've got the kill. That's a flash over for Hylissang, and they're going to get him. Diamond really wanting that extra kill. Should set them up to get another easy Dragon.
Yeah.
Number 4 plus Baron plus 12,000 gold lead. Gambit are here to play.
They're really pushing that lead, showing what you can do when you have a jungler like Diamond and like Rek'Sai against a Nautilus, one of the weakest early junglers in the game. But basically what happened again before, by Unicorns coming down to this Dragon, even though Gambit didn't have insane amount of vision control, it doesn't matter because the carries are still so weak on the Unicorns. I mean, we're 29 minutes in, you got 1 completed item on your AD carry. You cannot fight. Unicorns had to get that one up. Just say, okay, whatever, we surrender these kills here, or we surrender the Dragon, you got 4 now to 0, we have to fight for the next one then. But because you didn't have proper pink wards, we could at least stall you at the Baron. That should have been the call. Here, I mean, this is suicide for Unicorns every single time. There's no evidence to fight. Look at the damage from Vardax here. Okay, let's see, on to Caboshot. He's almost healing him simply because of the passive every time you cast a spell as an AD carry. And you obviously get caught out. You end up dying for it. Gambit knows what they're doing around these fights. And they also gifted them the Baron by Unicorns coming down here to try and stop it.
Well, Unicorns of Love are in dire straits as we hit 30 minutes on the clock. Actually, there's no real way for them to pull this one back at this point in time, because the next time they try to contest Dragon, and it's Dragon number 5, we've already seen what Gambit have done around the pits.
In best out of 5, first game, what you do now is you kind of just stop thinking about this game, you stop paying attention, and you start talking about next game. What went wrong here? For the Unicorns, they're going to be blue side 4 games in a row now. The teams decided to choose the sides this way. So they know, okay, we got 4 games in a row now on blue side. What are we doing for pick and bans? What went wrong in this game? Let's talk about it. How do we fix it for next game? Because there's obviously still loads of games to be played.
Gambit are sieging up. Look at that massive damage from the Acid Hunter onto Vardax. He's instantly forced to back away, trying to clear this wave out as best as he can, but the Baron-empowered cannon minion doing a lot of work here for Gambit. They got a lot of melee champions, and only Urgot and Edward on that Janna as your range, trying to get some auto attacks. They're not the greatest at taking towers down. And just to quickly explain, the higher seed gets side choice in games 1, 3, and 5. Gambit, Unicorns, based on their side choices, as you've said, Deficio, means Unicorns get blue for the next 4 games. We do see Betsy's down. That's a good kill for the Unicorns of Love. Diamond is now in trouble. He's going to be burrowing his way to safety. And a momentary misplay from Gambit. Staying too eager on the tower, Unicorns find 1 kill back. And they end the killing spree.
You said it yourself, Trevor. Gambit doesn't really have a siege comp being built up here. 4 melee champs, or 3, I guess, melee champs, and then a fairly low-range Urgot, resulting in a kill for the Unicorns. So nicely played by them. The problem is there's still going to be a 5th Dragon soon. That's obviously the goal for Gambit. And once you have that one, the insane amount of extra tower damage you get means you just have to walk in with your AD carry, hit it a few times, and you stay around the minion waves, and that tower will die. So the Unicorns, no Dragon is going to be the big one. Already trying to set up a few wards in advance. This one is going to disappear before the Dragon even spawns, though.
Very, very brave play from Edward, taking on Shachi and Vardex, realizing he had some support from the rest of his team. 007, doing his best James Bond impression. But for Gambit, every single thing's gone right, with the exception of sticking around in the top inhibitor turret. Let's see if they want to play for Dragon number 5, maybe another Baron. Use those side waves minions to help do some damage for you, because you've got to be very honest, it's going to take a lot of time, even with Dragon number 5, for Pinoy to solo kill a turret. If Unicorns can keep wave clearing. If Kog'Maw and Vardex are not pushed away, Kog'Maw and Jinx rather,
we have to remember though, is if Betsy lands a Q onto either Power People or Vardex, even on the tower, that's basically it. Because you can flash in and ulti on the Cho'Gath, and you nearly one-shot a carry. Yeah,
talking about flash ulting, Pinoy, you need to up your game. We're 33 minutes in, and I've not seen a solo initiating hyperkinetic position reverser. It is arguably the best spell name in the game, and you're not showing it off. I am disappointed.
Are you, Trevor?
Yes!
Let's see if Pinoy will do it just for you, obviously, not for Gambit.
No, I mean, I'm calling him out. We'll see what he can do.
Well, he hasn't really had to do anything this game, honestly. Because it's not been about the bottom lane for Gambit. They died twice in lane. Pinoy died twice in the lane.
That's true. Gambit is a team that plays around their solo lanes.
That's true.
Diamond tends to camp for Cabochard, and really, it's up to Cabochard and Betsy to help carry. And let's also be honest, it's a very similar story for Unicorns of Love. In terms of how these teams operate, it is very much about their solo laners getting the team ahead and then being the sharp spear point of any aggressive play.
I really wish we had talked about this before the game started, because when you then pick a Nautilus for Kikis, and you know it's about these two solo laners here and the jungle fight in between, you really don't do yourself any favor. I understand what he's doing for the comp. Again, Kite, loads of CC. Nautilus is one of the champions, bringing the most CC in the entire game just from like one pick. Problem is, you gotta get to that point. Gambit has never been punished. I'm not gonna say they have low amounts of engage. I mean, you got a Maokai, you got an Urgot to start the fights, but Black Shield can avoid most of that. QSS later will avoid most of it, as long as the Unicorns hadn't fallen this far behind, where they had to surrender their jungle completely, because that means you'll always get flanked. Always. You can never move away from your towers if you don't have control of your own jungle, because there's always a chance of a TP coming in, a Rek'Sai coming in from behind. And that really has been the big problem for Unicorns, and Gambit just showed how good they are at team fighting and starting the team fights.
Well, we're getting closer to that average game time victory. Around 42 minutes is how Gambit generally win. We'll see if they're going to stick to their law of averages. Dragon up in 3 seconds, Baron up in 20 seconds.
This time they don't want to fight.
Are baiting Unicorns of Love, saying we dare you to challenge, we dare you to move in. Look at Unicorns, they were trying to move into their own jungle, maybe expecting Baron.
Yeah, and the Unicorns would have been in a better position now to fight compared to the last Dragon they tried to go for, where obviously Gambit just turned around and killed them because they were so far ahead. Got the Baron after as well, despite not even investing into any pink wards around it. But this one here, the 5th one, clearly the Unicorns still doesn't feel like they can fight. You got 3 core items now on Power of Evil, so that's super important. They're backing away from Baron as well, so they're gonna give up everything for Gambit.
Well,
okay, maybe they're gonna try and steal. Let's see.
Hylissang and Kikis, they've got their flashes available this time. Baron's down to 5,000. Vardex is 1.5 miles away, but here comes a super mega death rocket. It's going to be late. Gambit get Dragon number 5, Baron number 2, 14,000 gold lead. And with Baron and buff, Dragon empowered, sieging, now they should be able to take towers.
Yes.
Should.
If you cannot finish now,
you don't deserve it.
With all the buffs in the world, you're never gonna finish. Gambit obviously played so well. Yes, okay, that one small misplay in the top lane where they tried to take down the tower, but it didn't really do anything because there was no objective for Unicorns to take. So Gambit was still in full control of the map. Now let's see. All going mid at the moment. You got the buffed up minions, you got the cannon as well. You got a massive tree in the back. Pinoy is going to do a lot of damage to these towers.
Which will be a massive tree in the front if Gambit see the opportunity. Vardax, since the last time he tried to defend a tower, has a Phantom Dancer completed and a pickaxe. He's getting there slowly but surely.
Yeah, he's like 30 or 40 minutes away from killing anything.
Well, we'll see if he's given that much time. The answer's not going to happen though. Caboshot is a giant tree already. Got that Thornmail completed. Will be able to solo all of the damage dealers of Unicorns of Love. Gambit just waiting for the minions to push up, but look at the bottom lane. It is pushing against Gambit. This is a small misplay, but they're just diving onto Vizichachi. That's a two-man rupture. The front line of Unicorns are forced away, while Diamond is onto the back line. Hylissang should be the next victim, but he has managed to keep himself alive for a few seconds longer. 3 members of the Unicorns of Love, and the Sapling touchdown takes Hylissang out. Gambit 4 quick kills, an inhibitor, and they set their sights on a near flawlessly executed game 1 in their best of 5, ahead of all averages, demolishing the Unicorns of Love.
It's safe to say that the only kills the Unicorns got in this game were when Gambit were a little bit over-aggressive and didn't even mind giving him that kill because there's nothing else to take on the map. This game belonged to Gambit from the start. Champ Select with that Rek'Sai pick, the Maokai top lane into Hecarim as well, just to set up the ganks so easily. And the Nautilus reply from the Unicorns that did absolutely nothing. Diamond was obviously the big star in this game with his early ganks. Like everywhere he went, he would just get a kill for his team. But the whole setup was just so good at preventing Unicorns from going late game. And when you have these 2 hyper carries, immobile, squishy ones that need so much time to be useful, you cannot just surrender your entire early game in terms of your jungle pick then, if you want to try and do anything, unless you were expecting Gambit to just kind of sit back and farm as well, but they would never do that when they got the Rek'Sai pick. That's the thing about these early aggressive junglers now against the Cinderhawk tanks. When you play the early aggressive ones, you gotta make plays, otherwise you will get outscaled compared to the big tank, and that's exactly what Diamond and Gambit did.
Exquisitely played by Gambit. I think Unicorns have to reevaluate their jungle top synergy, evaluate how they're going to handle that scenario, because in straight-up head-to-head lanes, Gambit know how to gank for Caboshot.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, even in lane swaps, they know how to gank for Caboshot and get him ahead. It's been the story of Gambit all split long.
It was picks, and then also, we just saw the small details here. First of all, Kiki started his own red buff, walked down to blue buff. He didn't go into the river and try and secure any vision for the top lane. He just abandoned the top lane and just walked straight down bottom lane. He killed the scuttler down on the bottom side, but that didn't do anything for them because he was the top lane getting ganked. And then at the same time, mid lane, Betsy on Cho'Gath were just pushing it all the time. Just push it into tower, and then whenever a gank was about to happen, he would walk out of the lane, walk towards the top side, and then there would always be at least 3 guys there from Gambit way before Unicorns could do anything. So the whole setup from these 3 guys were just perfect to camp that one lane where there was, of course, no flash on Hecarim.
And when we looked at that mid lane, it was actually almost non-existent. Yes,
in the mid
lane. Look, in the mid to late game, Betsy landed ruptures. He got the ferals down that helped Gambit win the team fights, but it wasn't really the game-defining play, nor was that Cogmore. Really little to no impact. So we'll need to see how Power of Evil is going to bring himself back into the series. And to break down Gambit's Game 1 win, let's head it over to our crack team of analysts at the desk.
Thank you very much, Trevor. We heard a lot about picks and bans already. And for you, D'Amato, one of the most interesting and maybe bad things of Unicorns of Love going into this draft must have been the Nautilus pick, especially banning out 2 junglers. And we saw it translated directly into a really bad early game for them.
Simply because Gambit opted in to first pick the Maokai, it kind of allowed them to pick the better jungler in the first rotation. I didn't understand why they wanted to last pick it. It made absolutely no sense. And at that point, like, Kikis has played Rek'Sai before, so it would have been a good pickup because of the jungle bans.
I mean, they picked Hecarim, and they picked a weak mid and a weak jungler. I was actually kind of surprised they didn't just lane swap. Although, like, you know, Hecarim's not the best in lane swaps, they at least have Jinx, so they can avoid the Urgot, like, early game stuff. So, I'm not really sure. Like, yeah, the last pick, Nautilus, kind of threw me off, and then, yeah, they didn't lane swap either. I think they kind of had too much confidence maybe coming in, or they just didn't respect that Gambit would, you know, take advantage of what they had.
Yeah.
And in the end, the things we hadn't seen from Gambit before, like the Urgot, like the Cho'Gath mid, it didn't matter because it was all about the top. And we know Gambit likes to play that way. And knowing that Cabochard is a Maokai, although you weren't particularly impressed with his Maokai the last couple of weeks, it worked out so well.
I think we see a massive improvement in his Maokai for sure. Sure, he got a lot of ganks, but his positioning in team fights and his impact on the game was massive because of his kill participation. But I'm really happy to see these kind of comps, because these kind of comps are where, like, for example, Ahri is super weak against it, and it kind of goes back to my point I had yesterday.
All right, reiterating that one. I want to touch on something Trevor said about the mid lane matchup. Obviously, AP Kog, it needs to scale up, and we saw that it did a lot of damage late, but it was too little too late at that point. But the Cho'Gath, you guys did have some good words for Betsy and the way he played, not the matchup, but the way he pushed the lanes and made the teamfight influence.
Yeah, for sure. You want to take this one?
Yeah, about Cho'Gath mid. So I wasn't a fan when it first started coming out, and I think it's because no one really abused what Cho'Gath could do. And in that game, you'll see Betsy like pushing and roaming top or pushing and roaming bot. And the strength of this is mid laners can't really follow Cho'Gath because if, you know, the catwalks of mid on the side are so easy to hit a rupture, and then if you do, it's like, well, now you're just getting chunked for free. And then that's not saying that they don't have a jungler close. So it's actually terrifying when a Cho'Gath pushes and moves, because you can't really follow unless you're playing like a really, really mobile champ like LeBlanc, and even that's just a bad lane, so.
Yeah, and testament to Betsy to recognizing when he should do that. We actually have a replay of that. Let's get that up on the screen where he does indeed that, pushes up the lane in the mid lane, and then Gambit take a bad engage, but they do end up winning. Jacob?
Yeah, so he's actually pushing this turret, and they don't have any deep vision, so they don't know where Nautilus is at all, and this could actually be bad for Betsy. But you see he's like Cho'Gath, he has so much confidence on this. He's actually pushing past this turret, and you see he's moving right now. Kog is stuck mid to clear this, and now he's just throwing Qs out. And if you get hit by a Q, you die. So boom, he's burning flashes with his 10-second cooldown on his Q. I mean, he gets caught here, which is not the best, but it just kind of shows like the strength of Cho'Gath. Like, it's not really punishable. You see him getting caught under turret. And then this is just the long fight where Cho'Gath actually is good in, because he's shooting so many ruptures, and once people don't have flash, they're gonna get hit by the next one.
I think that actually, like, unpunishable kind of works for like Urgot as well, Amakai as well. Like, this comp in mid game in general is just so strong because they just like have their power spikes in mid game, and this is the point where they are basically the strongest.
Yeah, the Maokai was definitely unkillable. Two things about that. Maokai is good because this was not a perfect engage. It did work out well because of their champions. But two, we discussed about these two teams and how they are in the mid game and they don't really know what to do. I am still not completely convinced in terms of Gambit, because you see here that they take bad engages and they had so many skirmishes, but in the end they were so far ahead that it didn't matter in this one. Did you guys feel the same, or did you feel that they played it out correctly?
I would have to say simply because of what Betsy did this game, as probably just said, about how he pushed and roamed. I think you can just keep it simple, the mid game. You just push out mid and create pressure. Like, it doesn't have to be harder than that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do think I want to give Gambit a bit more credit, because at least their mid game, they pulled out 4 sweeper trinkets, 4 upgraded oracles. And honestly, I haven't seen that yet. I mean, maybe it's happened in another region and I'm not paying attention well and doing my job. But so far in EU, we haven't seen this 4 sweeper thing. So I think they have refurbished their mid game a bit. They have some kind of plan with these 4 sweepers. And I actually think, you know, in the coming games, maybe that wasn't a like paramount of mid game play, but I think it's definitely something that they've been improving on.
Yeah. I said the minute they got a little bit of an advantage and got into the jungle, they put those wards down. Finally, before we go into break, looking ahead to next game, the Unicorns of Love will be on the blue side. The question is, will BD be completely thrown off and throw all of their game plans out of the window because they have to focus on certain bans?
I think we will definitely see a Maokai ban from Gambit is what I want to see, but from Unicorns of Love side, I think they're in quite a pickle now, because it's like a complete different comp, and they just have to adjust like 2 bans, like the Cho'Gath and Urgot is what is key in this comp.
Yeah, like you said it before about them being unpunishable, and yeah, how do you punish a Maokai or a Cho'Gath or an Urgot? They're all like really safe for everything they do. So I think taking Urgot out is going to be really, really strong, because I think, yeah, Gambit will take out Maokai for them, and then from then on, I think UOL will have a lot better game plan on blue side.
All right, we will see what Sheepy and the team come up with. We need to take a quick break, but when we return, the Unicorns of Love will try and even the score against Gambit Gaming. There's still a lot of leagues left to be played in this best of 5, so stick around.
I'm so excited. Can you sing that, Kikis?
I
just can't hide it.
Yeah.
I don't know the words.
But I know I like it. I like it.
What's up, dude?
You pumped, buddy?
Focused.
Oh, Diamond gets the knockup. That's another kill. Diamond is under attack from the tower, though. His kickers will be the next focus. Another knockup. Few more hits should do it. The minions and one more slam. Knockup from the Rupture. He's going to join the point. That's a flash feast. Betsy gets one on kickers.
We can go again. If they I'm going with home guards. Okay. There you go. Look, they're here. I will swap Kagma. Oh, JK. I got him.
Stop.
Move up, move up, move up, move up.
Take care. Take care.
Nice!
Good job.
Did you see a TP coming in from Cabashot right behind Unicorns of Love? Pizachachi forced to onslaught away as a defensive play, and he is down. A near flawlessly executed game 1 in their best of 5, ahead of all averages, demolishing the